What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another ranking video. Today I thought it'd be a really cool idea to do the Alien franchise, ranking them from worst to best in my opinion. Of course, if you have a different opinion on how you would rank the Alien franchise, drop it down below. I am including Alien vs Predator films, so be sure to, add them if you want. Just a little bit of backstory to me and Alien. I remember being like 8 or 9 years old, and my dad had a copy of Alien 3 on VHS, and I just remember him saying, "You won't want to watch that because as soon as you see the alien, you'll have nightmares." I think that is like the testament of the horror that the xenomorph brings with these movies. If my dad knew that it would scare me, I guess it maybe scared him. I don't know, but the xenomorph is undoubtedly the most terrifying movie monster of all time. All the films it has appeared in today, we are going to rank. Enough of my bullshit. Let's get in to this one. Right at the bottom of the list, I think it had to be here because in terms of quality, I don't know what else could be worse than this movie. Alien vs Predator, Requiem. See, I was really intrigued by this movie when it was first announced, because I quite liked the original Alien vs Predator. So the idea that this AVP sequel was going to take place in like small time America and on Earth, and it was being bumped up to an R rating, I thought it was going to be a bit of dumb fun. But it wasn't like that, was it? It wasn't like that at all. It was a complete fucking train wreck. A film so visually dark that, you couldn't fucking see a thing. You couldn't see anything in this movie. Like, a film so dark that prepare to turn up your brightness on your TV to max, and that wouldn't even fucking help either. Like, I would like to see what I'm watching, please. That would be nice. But yeah, the film is just too dark for anyone. The thing I hate about this movie, probably the most, is that all the characters that you're introduced to are these fucking horny, douchey teenagers, proper dickheads. All of them, you just want to see them die. And even when you see them die, you're not satisfied because the film is awful. Like, I don't know, it's just crazy. This film is just fucking horrendous. The cool cliffhanger from Alien vs Predator, the original film, where the Predalien chestburster comes out, you think, oh cool, we're going to get a cool Predator-Alien hybrid. That's wicked. But no, he's like, just turns out to be a nice, boring, hulking piece of meat in the movie that does fuck all. He does nothing in this movie, and he is meant to be the really scary big bad guy of the movie. But he's just he does nothing. He does nothing. The film itself, this is how I see the film. It plays like a generic teenage slasher movie that doesn't know how to do a slasher movie properly. And it has characters you just don't give a fuck about. And it has a Predator-Alien hybrid so fucking boring that you couldn't give a shit about any kind of climax with the other aliens or predators versus the Predalien. You couldn't give a shit about the climax of this movie. Anyway, spoilers, they nuked the whole town in the end anyway. So the whole 2 hours of this movie you just watched was a waste of fucking time. Whoever wrote this movie and thought, oh, Predator fans and Alien fans would want to watch this, I hope this person, whoever wrote this movie, does not work on a Predator film again or works on a Alien film again. They clearly don't know what the fuck they're doing. I really was hoping for a lot from this movie when it was R-rated, but we got nothing. And to think all of the cool backstory and lore that we got in the first Alien vs Predator, they take all that coolness of that movie, they take it, they flush it down the toilet and expect us to enjoy Predators and Aliens fighting for 90 minutes. Oh, because it's rated R now, yay, blood and guts. There is no amount of gore, no amount of blood, no amount of fucking horrific pregnant women getting bloody chest bursted in this movie to save it in any manner. It's a complete missed opportunity in more than one way. It's just a fucking mess. Fuck this movie. Coming in at number 7, Alien Resurrection. This sequel is awful, an awful piece of shit. I don't know what they were thinking. And fans think Alien 3 is bad. Bitch, please, come on. All the characters in this movie are cringe. They are just awful. The acting is over the top and not in a fucking good way. It is cringe as fuck. The story is not believable in the slightest. I don't know where they got Ripley's DNA from, because she was fucking incinerated. Please tell me how they did it, because I can't find any answers. Totally negates her sacrifice at the end of Alien 3. Completely wasted. What a waste. I know there's people that don't like Alien 3, but I do. So this movie kind of just shits all over it. Completely. Biggest contention I have in this film is the xenomorphs are like straight out of a cartoon. There's no fear in this movie whatsoever. I'm not scared at any point of this film. Don't get me started with the xeno-human hybrid. Please, just don't. Don't even start. This is a god-awful movie with ugly characters. Maybe one good set piece, which is the underwater sequence. Really well done. But that's it. That's the only good thing in this whole movie. Characters trying to be really cool, but end up being super fucking cringe and not cool whatsoever. And an ending that makes me feel like asking the question, why the fuck wasn't this movie on Earth to begin with? I mean, the comics, Earth War, please? Yeah, that would be great. But no, we got Alien Resurrection, a film that doesn't really care whether you are invested in this franchise. And you get a xeno-human subplot, which doesn't make sense to me, because I thought the xenomorph that comes out of a human is already a bloody hybrid with a human. So that doesn't make sense to me. Even the xeno-human hybrid, the newborn, it's a fucking nightmarish creature that will give you nightmares and then give your nightmares. And not those kind of nightmares where you're generally scared of it, just you're horrified by what it looks like because it's the worst thing ever imaginable, because it shouldn't be in this fucking movie. Fuck this movie. Next up, at number 6, we have Alien Covenant. Now, this film has some really good scenes and some really, really good violent and gore effects. And I think this film has some really cool direction that only Ridley Scott can really bring. They are the only positives I have for this movie. The only positive. I feel that the pacing and the story that this film is telling is a bit of a mess and a bit of a convoluted tying to bring Prometheus into the Alien franchise. Alien Covenant, for the duration of its runtime, tries its best, in my opinion, to destroy every ounce of mystery that we had for the xenomorph. I understand it's Ridley Scott's story, but you could have retained that mystery of the xenomorph and just made a different movie with the monster in it. Because, yeah, let's be fair, Aliens and Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection as well are kind of the same movie, more or less, kind of repeated in its formula. So I was hoping that this film was going to bring the alien into a different style of film. Yeah, it is kind of tries to be Prometheus from time to time, but it tries to be Alien at the same time. But man, I hated this movie. When I was writing my notes for this and just remembering some of the fucking shit that this movie has, I'm like, this movie is fucking just a mess. Let's get into it. I don't give a shit about David's character in this film. I didn't really care about him in Prometheus. This convoluted storyline doesn't really engage the audience when you have stupid characters, scientists not acting like scientists, may I add, and then making completely idiotic decisions make this film almost unwatchable. And all this just for the film to harken back to the original Alien in the final 20 or so minutes of this film, which also includes an unnecessary twist ending that everybody saw coming. A David android, that is the bad David, and the David android, he's not called David, I forget his name, but the other android looks like David, that's a good android. They have a fight, one comes out alive. Who could it be? It is clearly going to be the bad David android. This film is just a mess, just a complete mess. To cap it off, the Elizabeth Shaw character is killed off in between Prometheus and this movie. So we are robbed of both the Xenomorph's mystique, and also we are robbed of an Elizabeth Shaw sci-fi adventure that could have led to some really cool extended universe stories. You know what, guys? I thought about this for a while when taking my notes, but yeah, fuck this movie. Next up at number 5 on this ranking, I have the first Alien vs Predators movie. I've always really enjoyed this one, and I've always really loved the lore of this film. The backstory to me of how the Predators hunt the Xenomorphs as the ultimate prey is really cool. But yeah, the actual film isn't as cool as the lore suggests, but it is really entertaining. I keep thinking that maybe the PG-13 rating for this film kind of hurt it, because I want my blood and guts, guys. You know how it is. But I don't think it hurts it that much. I think it's fine, as a film kind of like catered to more of a teenage audience. I think it kind of works. And obviously it's not as bad as AVP Requiem, which we've already spoke about. But aside from the PG-13 rating and how there's not really much gore in this film, I think it's a dumb ride. A lot of things to like. The Xenomorphs and aliens are duking it out, which is what we paid money for to see this. And I think they succeeded with the fights in this. I think they're quite cool. Takes a while to get there. Quite of a slow burn of a movie to the beginning, where it's kind of like, scientists and that just doing their scientist thing and just finding that pyramid underground. But when it does get into the crazy, Predator Xenomorph combat, it's pretty fun. It's a pretty fun film. The film takes its time to really kind of make you kind of care about the human characters, which is nice, because you kind of would want to relate to the human characters in some regard, because they're human. They're amongst this crazy shit that's going on, and you want to kind of like them. That's why it makes you sad when they die. That you can tell that the people that made this were having a blast, and it comes across with the movie. It's not a bad film whatsoever. Definitely flawed, but a lot of fun. That's why it's more or less bang on in the middle of my list. So yeah, it's not bad, this one. Not bad at all. Coming in at number 4 on this list is Prometheus. Now, I've always been a bit mixed with Prometheus. I think it's really visually stunning and quite beautifully shot. Like, again, only really kind of Ridley Scott can really deliver this kind of scale for a science fiction film. But yeah, I think it's better than the films I've brought up already on this list. But trying to fit it in to the Alien kind of timeline is a bit awkward, because I feel that the film kind of works better as a standalone science fiction movie than it does a full-on Alien prequel. The plot and the story kind of starts off really well with they found where their kind of the creators of humans come from, and they've gone out to find them. And it's really kind of interesting. But I feel it descends towards the end of the movie into just a convoluted mess. Like I said, it's a really good standalone film. Outstanding on a first viewing. I mean, if you haven't seen this movie, I still recommend go and watch it for the first time, because it is a spectacle of a science fiction film. But I feel that the film kind of goes a bit moot on repeat viewings, and I tend to not enjoy it as much as my first view. With Alien Covenant in mind, and that sequel officially tying Prometheus into the Alien universe, I think the idea of Prometheus being an Alien prequel makes the film kind of fall flat in a big way. But I feel at least it was different. We're down to our final 3, and my number 3 is going to be Alien 3. I've really grown up to really appreciate this movie, both the theatrical cuts and the superior assembly cuts. I have kind of a controversial opinion regarding the killing of Newt and Hicks in this movie. Sure, it kind of undermines the the resolve and the ending of Aliens, but I think it was a really ballsy move that I think adds to the loneliness and the depressive atmosphere that this movie has throughout. Because if you think about it, especially when it comes to the loneliness aspect, Newt and Hicks were the only ones that knew about these xenomorphs aside from Ripley, and now Ripley is all alone on this planet with a bunch of scum prisoners that don't believe her. So you can tell, even though she's on this planet with a bunch of people, a bunch of these scumbag prisoners that kind of just are just horrible people, the loneliness is there. I do get a lonely atmosphere in this movie, and that's why I kind of like it. I think the decision to go back to just one xenomorph was a very interesting decision, especially after the complete hive attack of aliens. I think it's a very different take. If you go into the behind the scenes for this film, there's a lot of issues and a lot of studio interference, but I think this film is a hidden gem in 2020. I would like to think that Alien fans have come to appreciate it more for what it is rather than what it could be. Its lonely atmosphere, its bleak tone, some great actors in there. Even though you're not meant to like the characters, they kind of come across as quite likeable. They've all got a band together to take out this xenomorph. It makes for a bleak, dark movie that is vastly entertaining. And I tend to watch this quite often and really enjoy it. I think without Weaver, this film could have been much, much worse. I think Weaver's acting in this is world class. I think she's the saving grace in this movie. I would say I love this film, because I think I do. I think I've come to really appreciate it and love what it was trying to do, even if it is superiorly flawed. I would give Alien 3 another go. We are down to our last two, and these two always flip-flop for me. I think one film is better made, but the other film is a lot more memorable. So at number 2, I'm picking Alien, the original Alien from 1979. A friend described Alien to me as a science fiction horror movie with the tropes of a slasher film, and I totally agree with that statement. I think it's almost kind of a haunted house in space. It's super claustrophobic. It's got that cool kind of retro future set design, and it's fucking just a masterpiece in fucking tension horror. Sigourney Weaver is a star, of course. A strong female lead that people are clamouring for these days, but it looks like we had them like 40 years ago. I don't know what happens there. But yeah, the xenomorph, like I've been talking about this whole goddamn list, the xenomorph as a monster in movies has stood the test of time as one of the most terrifying movie monsters of all time. Its perfection is only matched by its hostility. Indeed, rest in peace, Ian Holmes. This is the role I will remember you by. Alien for me is just dripping with a foreboding atmosphere. It's just bleak as fuck. It has one of the most shockingly violent scenes in all of cinema with the chestburster scene. Alien is a science fiction horror masterpiece, no matter how you slice it. It's just a fucking great movie, masterpiece in horror. Perfectly blends like the balance of suspense and creature horror that still scares the shit out of people 40 years later. It is a must watch, and like I said, no matter how many ways you slice this movie, it is an outstanding masterpiece. We're down to a number 1. And number 1 is obvious to nearly everybody that is into Aliens and the Alien franchise. It's 1986's Aliens. I mean, this is one of the greatest sequels ever made, bringing more action compared to the first film. Like I said on my number 2 list, 1 and 2, flip-flop in my mind all the time. But I feel Alien is a better made movie. I think Aliens is a more memorable movie. I love how the film takes place on LV-426 from the first movie, and how it kind of manages to kind of take Ripley back onto the planet to fight the xenomorphs all again. Ripley goes from this kind of like worried advisor into this like just fucking badass as the movie progresses. I think the movie is super quotable as well, with Hicks keeping his shotgun for close encounters. Hudson's legendary "Game over, man, game over." It's just super quotable. Who can forget the get away from her, you bitch? Just super quotable lines, man. Super quotable. The showdown with the alien queen is so memorable. It's so just burnt into people's minds. You know, I love some of the establishing shots where we see the Queen alien for the first time. It's just majestic camera work and framing throughout the whole film. James Cameron is a master. This is probably, for me, is probably his best movie. I love some of the shots of Ripley in this. One in particular where Ripley kind of looks at the alien queen, does this little kind of head tilt, and then starts blowing the fuck out the alien eggs. It's just badassery all day long. And I just think this film, it looks visually great. It's framed amazingly. The directing is, like I said, is fucking like masterful. Everything about his film is just perfection and super easy watch as well. You know, I can stick this on at any point of the year, any time of the day, and have a blast. It's that easy to watch. It could be on TV and I could just sit there and watch it. It is one of the most easily watchable movies that is entertaining every time you watch it. There's so much I could pick from this movie that are just so goddamn memorable that I don't know how you can deny that it's the greatest sequel ever, because it is, and that's why it's number one on my list. That is the end of my Alien franchise ranking list. As always, if you liked this kind of stuff and want to see more, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, be sure to like it, because that always helps out. You know, if you didn't like this video and think I'm rubbish, you can always hit the dislike button. It's what it's there for. Until next time, I've been Jason, and I am out.